Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. Today we're going to look at 5 core survival needs. And these are going to be a little bit different than what you would normally think of as core survival needs. So bear with me. So these are what I think are the top 5. There may be more that you think of. Okay? The first one is your physiological needs. So we all know that your food, your water, clothing, shelter, right, being safe from the elements. These are the obvious ones that people think of in terms of prepping. But there is another physiological need that some people really don't contemplate when putting together their plan for an SHTF. So that physiological need is sleep. If you are in a small group in an SHTF or going lone wolf, how are you going to make sure that everyone's getting enough sleep? If you're having to do night patrols or security watch, do you have enough people to cover that and the daily procurements that you have to do during the day? You know, gathering wood, getting water, cooking, whatever it might be. Everyone getting enough sleep, especially during the first part of an SHTF, I think is going to be a real challenge. And that, everybody's going to be so anxious about what's going on. And if there's sleep deprivation, that's going to make a huge impact on how well your group functions and gets things done. So when you are planning for this, you need to make sure that you are planning so that at least the majority of you get that good night's sleep, because that is going to be important, and I think it's something that a lot of people overlook when they're planning for their SHTF. The second one is safety and security. So when your basic needs are met, you feel more safe and secure in your environment, right? If you have enough food to eat, you have a warm home, you have a reliable vehicle, right? You have money to get the things that you need to survive on a day-to-day basis. So especially at the beginning of an SHTF, I don't think anybody's going to feel very safe and secure, right? You will wonder if you've done enough. You will be constantly trying to get more information on what's going on. You may feel very vulnerable or even anxious. As time goes on and you're able to adapt, that sense of safety and security is going to get stronger, right? But you also need to think about the kids. So whatever you are going through and what you are feeling, multiply that by about 10,000, okay? Kids especially will need to feel some kind of sense of safety or security, even while, the world's in complete chaos. My advice on that, if you want it, is to make sure that there is someone with those kids consistently, okay? That in a small way will give them that sense of safety and security if there is consistency. And that even should be in the plan. When we talk to the kids in our group about, their perspective on things, and the one thing that was brought up was having a schedule, so they knew what was coming next, right? And that, the way that they described it is because then there wasn't, you already have all the unknowns going on out there, right? This minimized the unknowns at your location in that SHTF because the kids knew what to expect. So figure out some type of schedule for the kids, and then also be consistent with having somebody with them at all times so that they get at least a sense of that safety. The next one is love and belonging. Now, I know that this sounds absolutely crazy when we're talking about, Mad Max situation, or, whatever that SHTF looks like. Okay. Everyone needs a connection to other people. This is where a MA group is also more beneficial than going lone wolf. You will want someone to talk about what's going on with, and to brainstorm and have that sense of a little bit better safety and security, right, when you have somebody with you. And then also having somebody that can help you put that all of that prepping stuff you've been doing into action. But another perspective on this is also to think about how you will keep your marriage or your close relationships going when everything around you is falling apart. Some people feel that relationships won't be as important because survival at that time will be the priority. Some people feel that relationships, if it's a long-term SHTF, that relationships might morph or change. There's no right or wrong way to what you believe about this, but it is something to keep in mind. And again, along with that, don't forget the kids. How are you going to keep a strong relationship with your own children or grandchildren if you are having to continuously use your time and effort going towards your or your group survival? So how can you incorporate that sense of love and connectedness when all of this is going on? Again, it's just something to put in the back of your mind. I know these are things that generally aren't talked about, and I think they need to be in your own group. Okay? The last two go together, and this is self-esteem and self-actualization. So some people might feel really inept when it comes to prepping. But the more skills that they build on, the more their confidence grows. And this is going to be very important in an SHTF environment. Not many people meet the high standards that they set for themselves in a normal world, let alone when you are under the threat of or during an SHTF. Feeling like you can't do things right or you haven't done enough, those things can have a negative impact on what you are willing to do going forward. Remember that a lot of the anxiety and the vulnerability that you might feel in it, especially at the beginning of an SHTF, can really be amplified. And if you're already feeling like you have low self-esteem or low actualization, this is going to magnify those feelings, and it will affect what you do in an SHTF and how well you're going to be able to function in the group. So what I would say to that is continue working on your confidence now in all aspects of your life, and those will transfer over to being able to address situations calmly and be able to think clearly in a crisis situation. So some of these core survival needs will be challenging to navigate the longer an SHT event lasts. Some of them will actually get better. How well you prepare and have these discussions with your group now will make a difference on whether they have a positive or a negative impact and what you're going to do about it. Some of you might not see these things as fundamental to survival, right? Everybody's talking about the food, the water, the shelter, the boomsticks and the freedom seeds, having conceal and cover and all of these things. But they are fundamental, physically, mentally, and emotionally. and they will affect the strength of the group that you are trying to survive with. So I just wanted to put these out there because I think these are 5 things that people don't talk about in the prepping community. We have to remember that prepping's not just about the physical, tangible things, right? It's also having the mindset to be able to function, right? And it's also the emotional ability to handle the crisis situations or handle the pressure, handle the stress, handle the anxiety. Some of you may not think that these are fundamental at all, and that's okay. Just skip the video. But I think that you need to talk about these in your group. I really do, because I think your emotional well-being and your physiological well-being is just as important as your physical well-being. So again, thank you to all the new subscribers. I sincerely appreciate you, and I really appreciate those of you that have been with me from the very beginning. So as always, stay safe, stay aware, and God bless.